I used to drive past that house every day on my way to work. You know the kind, the one nobody talks about, the one that sits abandoned for years, its windows dark, its doors barely holding onto rusted hinges. It was the last house on Blackwood Road. People whispered stories. Some said a family had lived there, until they didn't. Others claimed a man went insane inside those walls, carving symbols into the wood, speaking in tongues before vanishing without a trace. I never believed in ghosts. But I do now. And I wish to God I had never stepped inside that house. It started as a stupid bet. My friend Mike had been on this whole ghost hunting kick, always looking for new places to explore. "Dude, we have to check out Blackwood House," he said one night, slamming a six-pack onto my kitchen table. I laughed. "Man, you're obsessed with this stuff. You scared?" His grin was taunting. "Not even a little. That's how it always starts, right? A little peer pressure. A little ego." So we made a plan. Just me, Mike, and our friend Jason. One night inside the house. No phones, no flashlights, just a couple of candles. We wanted the real experience. I had no idea what we were walking into. From the moment we stepped inside, something felt wrong. The air was thick, stale, like it hadn't moved in years. Our footsteps echoed too loudly, the wood creaking under our weight. Mike laughed. "Man, this place is creepy as hell." Jason shivered. "I swear it just got colder in here." We set up in what used to be the living room, dusty old furniture covered in sheets, a broken chandelier hanging like a dead spider from the ceiling. Then we heard it. A whisper. Soft. Just behind us. Mike turned, his candle flickering. "Did you hear that?" I nodded, my mouth suddenly dry. "Yeah." Jason shook his head. "Stop messing around." But we weren't messing around. And then, the candlelight moved. Not from a breeze. Not from us shifting. The flames leaned, like something unseen had just walked past them. That's when we realized we weren't alone. The air turned heavy, pressing against my chest like hands pushing me down. The walls creaked, not like wood settling, but like they were breathing. Then Jason gasped. "Guys! The mirror!" There was an old mirror over the fireplace, covered in dust. But through that dust, I saw them. Faces. Not ours. They were pale, stretched like they were screaming, their eyes black pits. And then, one of them blinked. Jason stumbled back, knocking over a chair. "Nope. Nope. I'm out." He ran for the door. But it slammed shut. Not like a gust of wind. Like something wanted us inside. Okay, Mike said, his voice shaking. That could be anything. Maybe the house is shifting or..." Then it spoke. A voice from nowhere. A voice from everywhere. "Me fi Mike." He froze. "Hassan." My stomach dropped. Then, barely a whisper, "Nate." I felt something ice cold slide over my shoulder. We ran. Jason yanked at the door, screaming, but it wouldn't budge. The windows? Sealed shut. The house wasn't letting us leave. And then, the lights flickered. Not on. Not off. But something else, like a shadow moving between us and the light. Something big. Then we saw him. In the doorway to the kitchen. Tall. Thin. His head tilted at an impossible angle. No eyes. Just empty sockets. His mouth stretched into a grin too wide for his face. He didn't move. He just stood there. Watching. Then, he twitched. A sudden, jerking motion, like he was learning how to move. And then, in a voice that sounded just like mine, he whispered. "You shouldn't have come." Mike screamed. And the lights went out. In the dark, I felt something brush past me. Cold fingers. I shoved Mike toward the stairs. The windows. Jason was already ahead, slamming his shoulder into the glass. It wouldn't break. Behind us, the sound of something crawling. Not walking. Crawling. Fast. Jason grabbed a chair, hurling it at the window. It shattered. We didn't think. We just jumped. Glass sliced my arms, my legs, but I didn't care. We hit the ground running. We didn't stop until we reached my truck. And when we turned back, the man was in the window. Watching. Grinning. None of us ever spoke about that night. We moved away, lost touch. But sometimes, late at night, I hear it. A whisper. Soft. Just behind me. And when I look in the mirror, I see a face that isn't mine. When I was 11, I lived in a quiet neighborhood. The kind where people left their doors unlocked, where kids rode bikes until sunset, where nothing bad ever really happened. But that summer, something did happen. Something I've never told anyone. Because to this day, I still don't know if it was real. Or if it was something worse. It started with a sound. Late at night, when the house was silent, I would hear it. A soft, scratching. Coming from the ceiling. At first, I thought it was mice. My dad told me not to worry. Old houses make noises, he said. But this wasn't just noise. It was movement. Like something was crawling. Just above my bed. One night, I couldn't sleep. The scratching had been louder than usual, almost frantic. So I did something stupid. I grabbed a flashlight and pointed it at the ceiling vent. And that's when I saw it. A shadow. Not the kind that light makes. The kind that moves on its own. 2 fingers, long, thin, curled around the vent slats. I froze. Then, slowly, the fingers pulled back. And the scratching stopped. I told my parents. They laughed. Just your imagination. But I knew. Something was up there. And it was watching me. At night, I started feeling it. That feeling you get when someone is staring at you in the dark. But whenever I turned the flashlight toward the vent, nothing. Until the night it whispered my name. Tommy. I woke up to a thud. Not downstairs. Above me. The attic. My bedroom door was open. And so was the attic hatch in the hallway ceiling. I stared, my heart hammering. Something was down here now. I reached for my baseball bat. The hallway light flickered. Then, from the darkness above, a hand slid down from the attic opening. Thin. Pale. Fingers too long. And it grabbed the top of the doorframe, like it was pulling itself down. I ran. I locked myself in my parents' room, shaking. But then, I heard something dragging across the floor. Scrape. Scrape. Like nails on wood. And then, I saw it. A figure standing just outside the door. Tall. Wrong. Its head tilted too far to one side. And its face. It didn't have no eyes. No mouth. Just smooth, empty skin. And then, it moved. A quick, jerking twitch. Like it had just noticed me. It pressed against the door. I screamed. My parents found me the next morning. Huddled in their closet. The attic door? Still open. But when my dad checked, there was nothing up there. No footprints. No signs of anyone. But I know what I saw. And I know what I heard that night. Because sometimes, even now, years later, I still hear it. Scratching. Above me. Waiting. When I was 12, I lived in a small town where nothing ever happened. It was the kind of place where people left their doors unlocked, where kids rode their bikes past sunset, where danger felt like something that only existed in movies. But one night, something knocked on my door. And I've never been the same since. It was a Friday night. My parents had gone out for dinner, leaving me home alone for the first time. I was sitting on the couch, watching TV, when I heard it. Knock. 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 Soft. Slow. I glanced at the clock. 12:15 a.m. My stomach tightened. Nobody knocks that late. I crept toward the front door and peeked through the peephole. There was no one there. The porch light flickered. Then. Knock. 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 Closer this time. Like whoever it was knew I was watching. I swallowed hard. Hello? Silence. Then. A voice. Not loud. Not urgent. Just. Wrong. Little boy. Are you alone? Chills ran down my spine. I stepped back. Who the hell was that? I looked through the peephole again. Still no one. But then. A shadow moved across the porch. Slow. Too slow. And then, the voice came again, closer. You should open the door now. I backed away. I'm calling the cops. Silence. Then. A laugh. Soft. Like someone pretending to laugh. And then. Knock. 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 But this time. It came from the back door. My heart slammed in my chest. I spun toward the kitchen. Through the back window, I saw it. A figure. Tall. Thin. Its head tilted too far to one side. Its face? I don't even know how to describe it. Like something trying to look human. But failing. It pressed its hands against the glass. And it was smiling. Not a normal smile. A wide, jagged grin that stretched too far. And then. It lifted one hand. And waved at me. I screamed. I ran upstairs. Locked my bedroom door. My hands were shaking as I grabbed my phone. I dialed 911. But before they could answer, something moved in my mirror. I wasn't moving. But my reflection was. I watched, frozen in horror, as my reflection grinned at me. Then, it stepped out of the mirror. And it walked toward me. The last thing I remember was the sound of my bedroom door slowly creaking open. And then. Knock. 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 Not on the door. Not on the window. But inside my room. Right behind me. I never saw what happened next. I woke up in the hospital. They told me my parents had found me passed out, my room locked from the inside. They said there was no sign of anyone else. But I know the truth. Because sometimes, late at night, I still hear it. Knock. 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 Waiting.